Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our episode of Legal Steer Minds, where we deep dive into the journeys of individuals who have left an indelible mark on the professional landscape. And I am your host, Neha. Joining us today is Sanyukta Mukherjee, the legal counsel of Stryker, having a wealth of experiences. Sanyukta, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha, for a very kind intro.
Yeah, so हम लोग कितना प्लान कर रहे थे कि should be something for the for helping the legal professionals on how they can climb that ladder and get that experience and how you have reached this leadership role now. So let's start and Sayukta, let's kick off things on a personal note. I want you to tell us, take back to your roots, share a bit about your hometown and the place where family you belong to.
Absolutely. I belong to a very small place called Gorakhpur. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay.
And I guess in the recent years, it's become a little more popular. But
Yes.
back days when I was a kid, it wasn't popular at all.
Okay.
Yeah, Gorakhpur, I lived there with my parents. My father was a doctor. My mother was actually a singer, a
Okay.
freelancer, of course.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Okay,
don't really
nice.
have a legal background as such.
Oh, okay.
But
So your family
so
doesn't
I
belong
was
to the
a
legal background, but you,
not at
yeah, yeah,
not
great, great.
yeah, I
So
am
I
a
mean,
first generation lawyer.
yeah, first generation lawyer, and examples for many. Okay. So but I saw that you did your schooling, I think, from Nainital.
Yeah, so very short stint actually. I did my initial schooling from Gorakhpur itself
Okay,
till standard 10th,
okay.
and my plus two was from Nainital because I was insisting that I wanted to go to a boarding school because my brother was in a boarding school. So
Okay.
I wanted to experience that too. And
Nice.
my parents were kind enough to send me to a boarding in Nainital.
Nice,
And
nice, nice.
yeah,
Great.
that's the time I moved out of that city and I have never looked back.
So your experience at boarding school must be very unique and must have a lot of experiences in terms of that. I mean, in your boarding school, did you happen to think that yeah, this is something my career should be? I mean, the legal thing. When did it strike to you? I mean,
Honestly, not in school. I think this generation, the kids are much more clearer on what they want to do.
yes, yes.
Uh, I don't think in our days we were so clear about what we wanted to do. Yeah, one thing was very clear, and I made a very clear choice in my plus two itself
Yeah,
when I chose humanities as my
yes,
subject
yeah,
for during my plus two itself, which
yeah,
was not a popular choice then because most people will obviously the first choice would be science and then the
yeah.
second would be commerce and who doesn't want to study would go for humanities and not boasting but yeah I used to be amongst the top 2 3 rank holders so people found it very shocking in school when
That how
I
you took
chose
that humanities, right?
humanities yes
Yeah.
and didn't take up science. My father was a doctor but yeah but I was more interested on the humanities on the art side of things and even in humanities actually my inclination was always towards subjects which are more technical which are more
Mm, mm.
reason based logic based and that's why my inclination towards economics.
Yeah.
You would have seen in my profile that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
specialized in economics
Economics.
first in my
Yeah.
graduation before I moved to law. So, yeah, I mean,
So now kids are
my
very smart, as you said that even my daughter, she is like in sixth, and we are thinking about, what type of career she would be choosing for, because there are a
yeah,
lot of tests nowadays, which actually has a
exactly.
science behind that what kind of career they're going to choose based this
Yes,
their personality maybe, because
absolutely.
yeah. So when I chose doing CS, it was like मम्मी को किसी ने बोल दिया कि आजकल ये सीएस का कोर्स है और इसमें
चल रहा है।
योर डॉटर इज वेरी गुड एट थ्योरी, सो लेट्स
Yeah.
आपको यही करना चाहिए बिकॉज अकाउंट में इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, सो लेट्स
Hmm.
delve into go for CS and law, थ्योरी कर लो. That's how
Yeah.
things went.
That's how things used to happen. Like we had to figure out for ourselves. One was, of course, what was the popular choice then,
Yeah,
where you can find your, where you'll be able to find jobs,
yeah,
and who is doing what around you, and you are probably, kind of analyzing your own personality, because there weren't too many these tests that you just
yes.
mentioned, helps you understand or evaluate what kind of personality you have. So you had to judge yourself and evaluate कि ये मेरे लिए चलेगा, ये this works for me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
तो आपकी मॉम डॉक्टर थी तो आई एम श्योर घर से वो आता होगा कि व्हाई आर यू नॉट ऑप्टिंग फॉर योर डैड वाज डॉक्टर, सॉरी, तो
yeah, my dad was
obviously
doctor. हाँ, वो
you
pressure
want to do
आता था.
that bio and
My brother went through that pressure initially. He in fact sat for the entrance exams and all. I gave up right in the beginning that this is not what I want to do. And yeah,
yeah,
that's how I moved to economics. And then it was a smooth transition, because from economics then you have to pick up like a technical field after you've done your graduation. Obviously now you're thinking about what is it that I can do to
yeah,
probably take up a job.
correct, correct, correct.
So
Yeah,
and
that's
it was
how.
lined in my with my personality, my temperament, and
Yeah.
kind of
So
was
your
natural.
journey, yeah, like I saw that your journey shift from law firms to the leadership role now in corporate. So what was the
Yes.
driving force I mean, behind this transition? कोई ऐसा memorable experience है जो आपको याद हो कि that influences shift? Because I saw that you started your career with Desai Devanshi, right? Drafting
That's
all
right.
the agreements and everything. So like
Yeah.
starting from there, फिर अब आप now you are at a very good leadership role. So
Right.
tell us something about it.
Actually, Neha, what really happened was, when I started off in law firm, when I started off in Desai and
Yeah,
Devanshi,
yeah,
uh, I was mostly into on litigation side.
okay,
Of course, a lot of conveyancing work also, which is why you would have seen in my profile that,
yeah,
a lot of agreement drafting. So because of a
hmm,
lot of property related conveyancing work is something that I
yeah,
used to do, and a lot of work on the litigation side.
hmm,
So, somehow I realized that while litigation is very interesting, no doubt about that, it involves a lot of interpretation, drafting, arguments, briefing senior counsels, going to court. So it's very exciting in that sense. That your day-to-day work is very exciting. But what I was not really enjoying there was, the idea of having these long drawn litigations with no immediate solutions.
yeah,
And that was something that was not exciting. And the second thing that I realized in the law firm was, again, I loved my law firm days, and
yeah,
I'm sure there are a lot of people who are really doing very well in law firms.
yeah,
But what I felt was, I was not really close to the business I was like, impacting. See,
hmm,
when you're in a law firm, you're doing agreements, you're doing transactional work, you're giving opinions, but you don't really get to see whom are you impacting, how and how is the business getting impacted. So that intimacy with the business was not really there. So I
exactly,
used to feel a little disconnected when I was in law firms.
yeah,
So that was one reason why I really wanted to move to an in-house profile after that from law firm. And the second thing, of course, was, I love connecting with people, understanding the you know the business side of things.
yes.
So
So
because
I,
in a law firm you're only with lawyers.
yeah,
आपका मतलब वही business ही law है,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But I wanted to see the different world where, whatever I am advising, at the end of the day we are advising businesses, right?
yeah,
uh, as lawyers. So I
agree.
wanted to see what's really happening there. Who are these
And
people with
sometimes
whom I'm
even I feel that जो हम लॉ फर्म में अगर हम करते हैं शुरुआत तो we actually get polished because there are kind of work pressure or clients that are
Absolutely,
diverse.
absolutely.
So you get that polishing. मतलब आजकल legal professionals को whatever I advise is कि you actually do a lot of things. I mean वो exposure आपको जितना ज़्यादा मिलेगा, I think that is the turning point when you go to that leadership skill, because then you know a lot of laws, then you know kind of diverse transactions, because clients का
Right.
बहुत सारा diverse kind of work भी होता है.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
Yeah.
Of course.
So
So
I
that's
think,
what, in the law firms, you're absolutely right, Neha. What happens to start off with law firms is a brilliant idea.
yeah.
So even when early in my career, I felt that, I would want to move to an in-house profile. I was pretty sure that, I want to spend at least about 6 to 7 years or, around that time in law
Mm-hmm.
firms to build that foundation for myself. That because as you rightly said, that it actually gives you a very diverse kind of exposure in different industries, different kind of
Yeah.
clients, different kind of work. You're working on the litigation side, you're working on transactions, you're working on everything.
Yes.
So uh so that really helps you to build your foundations, and that gives you a very smooth journey in your in-house profile.
Hmm.
So yeah.
So जब आपको when you actually changed your job, so it's like कि the opportunity came I mean आपकी door पे, but otherwise या फिर ऐसा हुआ कि I mean you thought of कि हाँ मुझे यहाँ जाना है. So how did it happen?
See, law firms. So of course, I mean, if you're asking about moving from law firms to law firms, I
Yeah.
had to I made those shifts myself.
Yes. Okay.
Uh, and some of it was driven by personal situations as well, because
Okay. Okay.
I started working in Mumbai, and then I got
Yes. Yes. I
married,
saw
then I
that.
shifted to Delhi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course, a lot of it gets influenced by your personal life as well.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's how the shifts happen in law firms. But the move from a law firm to an in-house was a very conscious decision. Of course,
Mm.
Tata Sky came as an opportunity to me. I didn't go and ask for a job there,
Yeah.
right? But the fact that I opted for an in-house profile is something which was very conscious.
Mm.
Like, I was cautious about the fact that, now is the time. I had spent more than 6 years
Mm.
in a law firm profile,
Performs. Yeah.
and I wanted to kind of make that move. And of course, I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to get Tata Sky as an opportunity in front of me, and I grabbed it.
Great. Great.
So that's how it happened.
Yeah. Okay. Great journey. So, actually, in your professional journey, what would can you just give the audience some of your high points and pivotal moments that shaped your career, apart from whatever you have discussed, that shifting from the law firm to in-house was your conscious thing, and actually it also contributed a lot. I guess that it also contributes a lot when you go to the leadership role, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, if I talk about the high points, of course, the first one being your first job, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when you become you transform from a student, from a little girl to a true professional.
Yeah.
And if you have like a roller coaster journey, like the way I had at Desai Devanji, because it was a tier one law firm, very challenging, very demanding, then
Hmm.
that itself gives a very good foundation to you, because it
Yeah.
does make your life very difficult in the first year or the first 2 years of your career. But I think that's very important for anyone, and that was important for me too. And like I already mentioned, that moving from law firm to an in-house profile was another big one high point for me,
Yeah.
because obviously you're moving, the two worlds are very different, as
Yes.
I mean, everyone
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the next big one was from moving from a managerial position. I was still in the managerial position with teams reporting into me, because after Tata Sky, I moved to Jubilant Foodworks.
Yeah.
Jubilant Foodworks, I had a team reporting into me, but it wasn't a leadership role. So my first leadership role was in Orient Electric.
Yeah.
And that would be the most challenging, but the best part of my career so far, because suddenly you are put in a situation where your stakeholder management is actually about leadership management,
Hmm.
and to deal with the leadership team, and to to be in that space is, I think, the most difficult part, but also the best part of my career so
Hmm.
far.
Great. So आप when you went to this आपने सबसे पहले कोड कब देखा था मतलब in your internship itself देख लिया था आप
Yeah, of
कोड
course. Yeah, of course. I mean, during my internships, I started going to courts.
तो आपको डर
And
लगा कि आप कोड जा रहे हो और how will you handle and how will you do that thing आपको एक first time fear तो होगा I'm sure
first
सबको
time तो डर लगता है, बहुत
हाँ
डर लगता है. And first time when suddenly, I think most of us have had this experience where you are given a file at the last moment and you have been asked to just go and take an adjournment. Or invariably, I have heard this story from everyone, and I have a similar story where I went to file at the last minute, and I was a young lawyer, didn't know
अच्छा
anything about the matter. और थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ कर दिया सीनियर ने कि हाँ इतना है, बस एडजर्नमेंट लेना है, ले आओ. And suddenly the court, because the judge knows that you're a newcomer, he will always ask you, but tell me about the facts. So I think that was the most scary one that
yeah
I had initially. But it's important. I think all of us should have that experience once.
Yeah, because the students whom I sometimes coach, they share their experience. They share that हमने कोर्ट नहीं देखा हुआ मैम, तो हमने
Hmm.
इंटर्नशिप करना है, so we have that fear क्या करना है और वो आता है आपके पास आपको लगता है कि डर लगेगा और लगता भी है वहां जाकर बिकॉज
सकते हैं.
आपके पैर कांपते ही कांपते हैं बट देन व्हेन यू डू योर होमवर्क फैक्ट्स पता होते हैं तो थिंग्स मूव ऑन अपने आप ही या
Hmm. And also, I think what motivates you is when you go there, you see that you are not the only person like this. There are
या
a lot of young lawyers standing there in the same position that you are in.
या
तो
सो इट्स
और
ऑलवेज अ
बहुत लोगों को
पर्सन
डांट पड़ रही होती है वहां पे. यू आर नॉट द ओनली पर्सन हु इज गेटिंग स्क्रीम्ड एट बाय द जज आल्सो. So sometimes you are getting screamed at. It
या
does happen, but I think it's a part of our journey, and
या
it happens to everyone.
yes. So now jumping ahead to your present role, you are the legal counsel at Stryker. I mean, what do you do this new adventure? And Abhi tak, because I saw that you have been here from last 10 months maybe.
Yeah.
So how has the journey been so far? So now industry I think change हो गई है आपकी है ना?
Of
Yeah,
course, industry change हो गई है. And actually, the reason that I took up Stryker, I mean, took up this opportunity in Stryker was because, if you see my profile, I'd only worked in Indian companies. I worked with
yeah,
Tata Sky, then Japan Foodworks, and then
yeah,
Orient Electric. So this came as an MNC opportunity.
of course,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Great.
so I think that was one area where I wanted to start working, because it gives you a very global experience
Hmm.
and exposure, and you get to interact, engage with people from different cultures, from different regions. You get a very global perspective. And this was my thought behind joining, and I realized that it really is working well for me, because once I'm here, I realized that the kind of interactions and engagement that I have with the teams across the region, across the globe, it's a very
Yeah.
different kind of interaction. And the MNC culture is also actually very different from an Indian company culture.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is also a very big move. So it does add value to you as a profession, so a
yeah,
professional. So I guess it has been a good move. Stryker as a brand is brilliant. You
yeah,
would have read about it
yeah,
online also. I mean, you will read a lot of good feedbacks about the organization. It's
yes,
known for its culture, and employee welfare and all that. So yeah, it's been
Great, great,
brilliant so
great.
far.
So when did you pursue LLM? I mean, in 2021.
2020, 21, yeah. So I didn't really take a break from my job actually. I was looking out for a full-time LLM course
Yeah.
uh, with evening classes. I was trying that
Mhm.
because, I wanted to continue my job. I didn't want to take a break. Um,
Yes, yes.
so uh,
So it's
I
actually,
found this opportunity.
so
Yeah, sorry.
did it actually, I mean, help you in your career? I mean,
Um, ac- Actually, it did. If you see the specialization that I've done in,
environmental.
the choice was very personal because I was already working on the commercial side so much for such a long
Mm-hmm.
time. I wanted to do something different, something more personal, more meaningful. So that's how I picked up environmental law. But the timing was just perfect because if you see the year in which I did, it's around the same time when a lot of things is happening in the legal landscape of India on the environment side. There are
Okay.
a lot of things coming up on the waste management piece, on
Yeah.
renewable energy, on climate change, globally as well as in India. ESG, if you've heard about environment, social governance, the entire regulatory space around it,
Hmm.
which has been introduced by SEBI in the year 2020, 21, around the same time.
Yes, yes.
So, a lot started happening in this space
Hmm.
when I did my LLM. So, it kind of blended with what was the need of the hour in corporates as well. So it just made sense for me. I don't know.
So this
I'm
is
not
actually,
saying that LLM will always, I mean, see, any kind of education will add value to you.
yes,
But for me, it was an
absolutely. Yeah.
extra thing for me because, the timing was right about the subject because of the subject that I chose.
So what
Yeah,
I mean here, think that for my candidates or for my audience, I think that you should be very much aware about what is happening around you, what kind of changes
abs-
there is going on in the law, so that you can think through what kind of I mean addition you can make, upskill yourself in that area. Yeah. So that's what
absolutely.
I have gained
Absolutely.
from your experience.
Absolutely. In fact, these are some of these areas like environmental is one of them. Then data privacy is another area. These are labor codes. These entire gamut of new
Hmm.
labor codes which are coming up. So if you're aware about these areas, these domains, and we all know that India is in that path right now where
Yes.
things are
Yes.
changing, transforming. Everything is very
Hmm.
fast paced. A lot of things are changing, so it actually gives a lot of opportunities to the youngsters. So
Definitely,
if
yeah.
you're just aware about what's happening, number one, number two, what you are interested in.
Hmm.
Just, I mean, that's another thing that I keep saying, that don't go by popular choices.
Hmm.
Uh, Also, relate it to what you are interested in and then go for it.
So that's a very good insight you have given, Sanyukta. So now I would move to my next question, which is, I mean, leading in the legal arena requires its own set of skills. So, what kind of leadership principles do you swear by? I mean, how have they played a role in your success?
Um, Actually, this will not be very specific to legal, actually. Some
Yes.
leadership or certain things that have really worked for me is number one, be honest about admitting your
Hmm.
mistakes and
Hmm.
your shortcomings. And that is something that I have learned from my superiors. When you are much younger in the profession, you're very hesitant about, accepting कि ये गलती हो गई. Yeah,
Hmm.
I missed this. And
Yeah.
you are always, or you are also, hesitant about saying what you don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
During interviews, you are hesitant to say, you start making up stories, you start building some sort of answers when you actually don't know the answer. But this is something that I've learned from my superiors also, and I applied it in my life, and it really works. You have to admit your mistakes. So, as a leader, if I admit my mistakes, my shortcomings, tell people what I don't know, then I'm setting the right example for
Hmm.
people in the younger generation. So that's one. Second thing that I've realized is always keep learning. And when I say keep learning, one is, of course, you enroll yourself for some trainings,
Yeah.
workshops, certification courses. That's one thing. You have to keep updating, upgrading yourself. That's one. But second thing is, you have to keep learning on a day-to-day basis. Like,
Hmm.
you and I are interacting. I can pick up something that you say, and it can be like a good
Exactly.
insight for me that I can apply. Similarly,
Exactly.
even in your professional domain, professional setup, interact with people across functions, your juniors, your seniors, your peers, everyone. You will find something that you can learn from them, and you keep applying that. It really helps. These are things that I've applied in my professional life, and it has really, really helped me.
So I think you are saying that being transparent is something and very important for you to go by to climb that ladder of views. So, for example, take bigger steps and reach that position. So, I agree, totally agree that being honest is something very important. And then, apart from that, I think that when you said that, when you take interview and you ask the questions to the candidate and he just cooks up so many stories and you get to know that that guy, the
Correct.
candidate is
Correct.
actually cooking those stories and he or she
Yes.
doesn't know about it. Yeah, so
Exactly.
that's actually giving a false background or false commitment from their end, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it also, people sitting in front of you who are interviewing you understand. They have the maturity to also understand that it's a fear factor that is working.
yeah,
That, why is it that you are trying to pretend that you know? Is because you're scared that if you let the other
exactly.
person know that you don't know, then you will lose the job. You won't get the job. So, it also speaks about your personality. And the person sitting in front of you is judging your personality also, and not just your technical
About
skills.
technical skills, yeah.
So, yeah.
So have you ever faced gender bias in your career?
Honestly, no.
No.
But no, I've been very fortunate that way. And in my
Okay.
professional as well as my personal life, I haven't really faced it. I've been very fortunate to have very supportive, professionals and seniors
Great,
and
great,
teams around
great.
me. But I know that there are other people who do face it. And I do come across, even in legal fraternity, though I have felt that, in our profession, it's still less than a lot of other professions. Like, my husband is in sales, and I know what kind of gender bias people have
Hmm.
there in sales, because,
Yeah,
people believe that women can't be on field and all of that. In legal profession, we are still slightly better off. But I know even in legal profession, people do have gender biases. But I think my advice to people who have these kind of problems is just speak up at that moment. Just don't
yeah,
keep it to yourself. Confront it there and then, and diffuse it.
yeah,
And I know it from my experience once. I don't want to name the person, very
yeah,
young person, but
yeah.
at a very, very senior position in one of our board meetings, was sitting. And somebody, she was the most senior person in terms of designation in that room, but young. Like, in terms of her age, she was much younger. And someone was not was not really paying attention to what she was saying, or not valuing it. She confronted that person. I mean, he would have been at least 20 years older than her. And she confronted him there and then and gave it back to him. And
Mhm.
trust me, I'm not saying that you do it with grace, do it with dignity, but you have to confront. I think that's my
Yeah.
advice.
Thank you, thank you. So, if I would say that if you could go back and share a piece of advice with your younger legal self, what would it be?
I think something that I mentioned also, do not go by popular choices.
Yeah, correct.
Uh, do what you think, what you feel is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And one is, of course, do your homework, be
Yes.
aware of what's happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to do. It can't be a blind choice of what you
Mm.
wish to do in life.
Yeah.
It has to be more structured and more informed. But
Mm.
at the same time, it should not just be a popular choice. that
Right.
everyone is doing it, तो भाई कर लेते हैं, सब कर रहे हैं, कुछ ना कुछ तो हो ही जाएगा. Don't do that, because at some point you will get stuck if it's not in line with what you want to do or what you are good at. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's one. The second one is, of course, don't go by where you get easy money. I know that people have been earning so much. So many people get start off with such big packages sometimes
Yeah.
that a lot of people get lured by that idea of quick money. So don't go by that. And yeah, these are some of the things that I would say that
Thank
do
you
it.
for your advice to the audience, because my audience is what legal professionals and those who are actually pursuing something into their legal landscape, and
Yeah.
they because leaving a positive impact on the legal fraternity is something very important, and I feel that there is a gap, and my audience will be incredibly thankful to you for your time, and thank you for sharing your journey and insights with us today. It was truly enlightening and absolutely engaging, and happy to see you, Sanyukta.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha. It was wonderful talking to you.
Same,
And
same here.
I hope some of this would help some of our young
Yes,
lawyers
yes, of
and the
course,
next generation.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank you so much, Neha.
thank you. Bye.
Bye. Have a good
You
weekend.
too,
Bye.
you too, bye.